are you
good to see you.
doing?
Very good. Beautiful day here in Virginia Beach.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And it is more beautiful in Spain.
Yes.
Yes, it looks like amazing day.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so good evening, everyone. This is Ajita from ARWS Asia, and today we are live with Team Disability. And with us, we have Chip and Andrea. So thank you for joining us, the amazing team, an amazing couple, and we'll be talking more about it. But before that, yes, we have our World Championship winner 2021.
Yes.
So
How
I
are
know
you guys feeling?
we've been glued to the dots. It seems like it's like we've been in our own adventure race.
Seriously, thanks for that amazing live broadcast for that media team who like made us see the actual movements, what is happening right there in Spain. That was beautiful moment.
it really was. I loved seeing their excitement, and I don't know. It's amazing that they seemed pretty fresh. It seemed like they had not been racing for 4 days, but they.
True, true.
Yeah, and like I was looking at their legs weren't scratched and all of that. I was like, what are we doing wrong? We look like we got shot out of a cannon by the time we crossed the finish line.
True, 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 absolutely. And Otto was doing wonderful, and just we missed them in half a bit, just maybe just 1 kilometer ahead, and we could have seen the other expressions as well as they were reaching the finish line. But anyways, we have our winners. It is wonderful to watch, and I'm sure like our audience and all of us, we're really, really happy to see that after end of 4 days, like they have completed more than 96, 98 hours.
Yep.
It,
And although the winners are amazing athletes and they've just crossed the line, the interesting thing is for like the next 2 or 3 days, there's still teams out there that are fighting for that finish line. And Andrea and I, when we were in, we got done with Expedition Africa, we were the last team on the course. And I remember once we came through and all the pomp and circumstance, and I can't remember her name, I should, but the lady from Blizzard came up and she was like, I don't know how you do it. Like, how did you stay out there so long? Meanwhile, she was second place. I was like, how did you do it? How did you get in 3 days? So I think that's the beauty of adventure racing. There's a little bit of something for everybody, and both the front pack and the back pack are amazing people, amazing athletes.
True, 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 true. Really, really, we are like really happy to see there's so many teams still out there fighting it out and going through so many personal challenges and professional challenges. But yeah, they're doing amazing.
Yep.
Okay, so before I start, like I would have a lot of questions for you, but first let us know about you guys, like about what you guys do and what is the driving force behind this team disability?
Sure. Andrea usually says it better than I, so I'll let her start.
well, you embody our team name, so we're Team Disability instead of Disability. So I hope you can understand the difference in, through Instagram Live. But we focus on the things we can do and not the things we can't. So we support people with disabilities in our jobs. And also I have a son with Down syndrome. So we see this approach taken all the time. We focus on what people can do, and it's the best way to lead to success, no matter what you're striving for. If you focus on that ability and not your disability, you're going to go far. And so that's what we like to focus on. And as a team, we're always just trying to do our best. So whether that is, on the podium or whether that's mid-pack, a lot of time that depends on the length of the race and the competition that's there with you. We do want to help people get into the sport, and we want to invite people into our community and have them experience it for themselves, because it's really life-changing and empowering.
Yep. So everything she said, I've been a competitive athlete most of my life, and I was a big skateboarder, and then skateboarding kind of went away, and I'm sorry, I have a jet flying over me. Skateboarding kind of went away there in like the 2000s, and I was a big rollerblader and got just crushed doing that. Then I transitioned over to wakeboarding, which is like, you're riding behind a boat, you're doing flips and spins and all of that. And then, of course, sorry, the jet noise is loud. We live basically under an air base. So there's military jets flying, like, seems like what's nonstop. They just started this morning. I thought I was going to be quiet for this interview.
Okay.
But basically, as I aged, my knees are just not going to allow me to do these really big impact sports where there's lots of twisty and turny. I mean, I'm in my high 40s. Andrea and I are both in our high 40s, and like when we just did essentially, we had two teammates that are just over 50. But the beauty of adventure racing is I can't be a skateboarder anymore. I can't really be a competitive wakeboarder. But adventure racing, you can really compete as long as you can walk and ride a bike. You can really get out there and push yourself and push your limits and experience the world in a way that you just can't do in any other sport. So that's the way I look at it. It's like I may not have a lot of abilities, but I got this ability, and darn it, I'm going to use it as long as I can.
Yeah.
Great.
Another beautiful thing about adventure racing is it doesn't just rely on your physical ability. It relies on your ability to plan and your strategy and just a lot of things that challenge you mentally, not just physically. So that's a great, it's just great fun. Lots of lessons.
Yeah.
Exactly, like Andrea and Chip, like you what you mentioned is so true. Like it is not just about the physical appearance, it's not just about your physical fitness. And I met you guys in Rodriguez, so that's the first time I got to know about your concept, about what you're trying to do, how you are trying to create platforms for so many people. And this was really nice thing which you guys are doing it. So just tell us about, like, at disability platform, what are the kind of events or activities you do for the people? It is for, if you see about when some people are considered disabled and they are just given some indoor activities or very limited sports activities to do. But through your platform, you are trying to bring them outdoors. You're giving them various other platforms, like what else they can do.
Right.
Just tell us about that.
I'll answer that two ways. Professionally, my company supports, I think it's right around like 180 people with disabilities all the way across the state of Virginia. And this is people from, they could be a 2-year-old mentality. They can't really communicate well. Maybe they need help with the bathroom and eating and all of that. All the way up to people that have jobs and have cars and want to live a life. They want a husband or a wife. They want to live by themselves in their own apartment. And so we provide supports to people of all skill sets. One guy might want to play guitar. One guy might like fishing. It really doesn't matter. Mostly adults, because usually kids are kind of taken care of by their family. So we're talking about adults where the parents have aged, and the adults, they just want to get out and just live the best life possible, but they're never going to have a typical life where they can make enough money to support themselves or, be able to sign a contract to buy a house and things like that. So that's kind of what we do professionally, but Andrea and I both are on kind of the office side, right? I own it and she runs the entire accounting office. So we're really there to support the heroes who are out there really providing the individualized services to people with disabilities. And just because again, if I had, it's nice that we're able to do what we do, but a lot of people, they have a person with a disability in their life and they just can't, jump on an airplane and go fly to Africa for 3 or 4 weeks and do a race. So now let's talk about for a second in adventure racing. We really, the sport's really changed our lives, and it's not just a sport for us, it's really a lifestyle. So it doesn't matter if there's a race or not. Andrea and I are going to, if we have a weekend, we're going to run into the mountains and go run around and try to explore and pack raft or mountain bike or hike or bushwhack. It's just, we're constantly thinking, when's that next time I get to go out and play in the woods? We want other people to experience that kind of just the love of the outdoors is really the racing or not. We would just like to see people get outside. So when COVID hit and all the races shut down, we launched a company that does virtual races. So we basically set up an entire course. Instead of flags, we do things like rock cairns or signs that have words on it, or we call them stick teepees, where we kind of build a little teepee with dead sticks. And then that way I can mail somebody maps. They can choose which weekend that they want to go do it, and they run around and do the race just like a regular adventure race. And then they send us in their GPX file from their watch. And then we do the overlay and show them which points you got points and which ones you didn't. So we've made some really hard races, but we also, I guess the best is that we've made some very easy races that people that are brand new to racing or they want to get their kids outside and just enjoy the outdoors, that they could experience that. And then just recently, just a few weeks ago, we did our first adventure racing clinic. I would, I was really surprised, and maybe it's just in the States, but I imagine it's worldwide, that the minute we put it out there, we had a clinic. I mean, it sold out immediately, and we didn't charge much. It was 70 or so US. But the folks that came were so excited, and they had watched Eco Challenge, and they want to get into this thing, and they were teaching them how to use compasses, and just it was really, really fun, just helping people that have never done their first race, to teach them everything I know. And Mark Montague was our partner in this. He was teaching them everything he knows. And then people went out and did their first race. And one lady, I got to watch her cross the finish line of the Buff Betty, which is a 4-hour and an 8-hour race. It's all women. And I was the media guy, and I'm there for her when she crossed the finish line. And so I think that's the thing that once you're kind of a veteran in the sport, is to give back, get new people involved, maybe invite some people that have never raced that you'll be their kind of coach, or go on their team with them and help them navigate. But I think it's one of those neat ways to change somebody's life. So
I only have a couple other things to add, but we also put a lot of video out there. So we usually, when we race, we wear GoPros, and we hope that by sharing, that perspective from the racer, that it, inspires other people to do races, but also might teach them a few things to do and not do. So we've put a lot of focus on trying to create videos that are entertaining, and also, a little bit informational. And by that token, Chip does a great job putting us out there. And so every once in a while, we'll get an opportunity that we don't turn down. So we have been posting on behalf of Sleep Monsters during this Adventure Racing World Series. But different things like that, just any chance we get to put the word out there. And I will say, though, time is the biggest challenge. We, being racers, having full-time jobs, having all of these projects here and there, it's great for Chip's strength. For me, I have to juggle a little bit, a few more balls sometimes. But yeah, so that's all I wanted to add about the things we're trying to put out there.
So one other thing, and that was a really good point, I'm glad you brought it up. A lot of friends and family are watching, the World Championships go down, and all of the effort that went into it and all of that. It is extremely complicated to just get to the start line of one of these races, let alone finish it. Finishing it is just like eureka moment. But if you got to the start line and nothing's broken, nobody's injured, you're not missing any mandatory equipment, and all that, I mean, that's part of the race. So to help newer racers, or not even new racers, veteran racers that have never done an international expedition race, we documented our entire experience to do Wada Senchi, which is the basically is Ecuador, or Expedition Ecuador. We just did that just a couple months ago. But from the start of us just building a team all the way to being in the race and cross the finish line and a debrief, it's a lot of content. But the idea would be is after somebody watched that, I'm going to call it a documentary series, they would be ready to sign up for a World Series race and just kind of know what it's going to be like to get from beginning to end.
True. That's wonderful. Like, as you mentioned, like being a veteran and giving back to society, and these adventure racing in some or the other way, there are many people who are teaching people, who are giving back to young athletes. Like, adventure racing can offer or can give you so much. It's much more than just racing. So I was just talking on the live, there's someone asked them a question for the first team, how much money are you going to win? And it was so beautifully, Mary, so beautifully she answered, it is the experience which is more than the prize money which they're going to earn. And that's coming from the top team. So they're not behind money.
It's a rare race that actually offers a cash prize.
Yes. So those are the moments.
It's definitely not. I don't think anybody goes and does races because there's a prize at the finish line. But a lot of teams, I wouldn't even. I don't know if you call them sponsorships or not, but you can, if you're dedicated to a product and you reach out to that product and say, I love using your product. Normally you can get discounted gear. And so that's something that a lot of teams can get. So the better you do and the higher the rankings you get, maybe you can get more discounted gear. We were lucky to, and I guess I should mention our sponsors, but we have like Phoenix Lighting is a lighting company. We've been using their products. We love their products. And so they've helped us out over the years. Actually, it was Expedition Africa where we met you, and they sent me a bunch of extra batteries and stuff because I was terrified of like we're going to run out of batteries. And Kupapelli Pack Raft, we needed a pack raft for one of the races, and we met them at the Belize race, the Maya Mountain Adventure Challenge, and so we got to know their rep, and we've worked with them over the years, and we put out a lot of videos, instructional stuff on pack rafts. But recently we were lucky to land an actual paying sponsor, Choice Insurance Company, which is the guy that I did my first race with. His name's Richard Braun. And he has from the time he exposed me to adventure racing, basically he wants to do this 24-hour race, and he needed to find some, nutcase to do it with. And I was that guy, and he never did another race. And meanwhile, it has changed my life. And so he's watched me go from never racing all the way to where we are extremely comfortable in just about any race around the world. And so he wants his company name on our shirts and all of that. So it's not all about necessarily winning. We're never going to be on the podium of a World Series race. I mean, we could do really well in anything like 24 hours and below. We usually do end up on the podium, but in a World Series race, it's not about that money and that winning, but I think it's about being an evangelist for the products and services that you really agree with and that you want to promote. Some companies want to put their name on you or have you advocate for their products, and so it's not about the money, but it does help to have a little bit of support from companies.
True.
And that's it. Andrea said I put myself out there. Call the guy. If you like Ultra shoes, call Ultra and just ask. What are they going to do? Say no? I mean, to ask 10 people. But just put yourself out there. Even if you're a mid-pack team and you've never touched a podium, just ask. You never know. The local ice cream store might want to give you some cash or some free ice cream.
Exactly. True. It's just ask. There's a good advice from Chip. Like, whatever, just go and ask. You will just hear a no. But,
Yes.
but a huge shout out to all the sponsors, all the partners who have been supporting adventure racing, who have been supporting to many teams. There are some young teams and there are some senior teams as well, and they are supporting. So it's a good thing, and it's a big impact it's creating in the adventure racing community. And having a right gear is really important for expedition races.
So true.
Now we saw Garmin. We never had a watch like that, and now we have a Garmin who's giving a watch for adventure races. Yep.
That and Mike Klosser from Out There USA, the packs. You look at like half the teams in the World Championships is wearing Out There pack, and you see that same thing in our Adventure Racing National Championships. Like if he had not made that pack specific to adventure racing, like we'd be out there running around in packs that aren't really designed for the sport. So yeah, I would say you can go to a local store and buy 100 different packs, but why not support the company that produces race specific gear? It might be a little more expensive, but it's got to have the stuff that you need to do the race. So whatever country you're in, or whatever companies are supporting our sport, definitely take some time and consider buying those products instead of their competitor. Yeah.
Yes. So Out There USA, if you're watching this, so please, you have adventure races in India as well as in Asia. So please, I'm waiting to see those bags.
Yeah, actually, in Rodrigue, we brought over. I think I brought in. It's probably illegal. I probably shouldn't say this, but we brought over 4 packs for one of the teams over there that couldn't get them because they wouldn't mail them to them or whatever. We're international import export. You can
give it to. I'm expecting. Maybe next year in Lesotho we will catch up. So maybe.
You just let me know what you want. We'll bring it to Lesotho. We'll see you.
Well, thank you, Chip. No, it's wonderful. Let's hope things get better and we get to meet in Lesotho. That is like.
Yeah.
I was chatting with Heidi. Sorry, go ahead, Andrea.
I was just going to say, I think all of this is just a great example of what you experience in the adventure racing community. We've done 3 international expedition races now, and we feel like we know people all over the world.
Absolutely.
It just brings all of us together. And like I said, Chip puts us out there, and I think the way he does it is he has the mentality that people are people. So, you know, you want to go Mike closer, just talk to him. He's just another person. Or if I want to talk to Ajita, okay, she's just a person too. And we're all passionate about, you know, being the best versions of ourselves. And I think that comes through in our community. So anyway, wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah. That's so true. When I got introduced to this community, and from the time I've been speaking to so many people during this lockdown, I've been just talking to so many athletes around the world. It's so wonderful to hear them out and how passionately they'll be sharing their experience, their expertise. It's so wonderful how the community is so growing together. Everyone is together.
Yes. No, I don't think that's, I mean, out of all the sports I've ever done, that's never been the case. It seems like the professional level is like they're almost untouchable. Like you don't even barely, you know, it's almost like a stadium or arena or whatever. You don't get near them. But that's the beauty of these big races is there's usually a lot of time leading up to the race where everybody's getting there and sorting gear, and you can just walk up and talk and meet people and say, hey, I watched you that other race. You were amazing. And then, of course, the after party. I mean, you remember at Rodriguez, I mean, Heidi and Stefan put on like an amazing, really a pre-party and an after party. And I remember, like, I was just in tears, like, holy crap, like, there is nowhere else in the entire world I want to be than right here with these people. So that's it's not just the race. It's really, like you said, the community and the entire experience from the time you're really just getting into the country and getting ready for the race, but also the meeting the people afterward. You've had this amazing shared experience that you'll never forget. And like just with Ecuador, you know, we paired up with Team Green Pack Haiku. And so here we're I mean, I know Lewis he's from Lebanon, lived in Ecuador, and now lives in the States, but his other three teammates are Ecuadorian. And it was like, that was like one of the most fantastic parts of the race is that we just didn't have our team, which is often in the States. Here we now have these great friends in Ecuador that we spent days with. And so that's the beauty of this is everybody is just so, I guess it's because we're all passionate about the exact same thing. It's easy. Doesn't matter what language you speak or what country you're from. It's like we're part of one big community.
True. I hope Heidi is watching this, Heidi and Stefan. So we remember Rodriguez after party, and let's hope Lesotho, the after party is going to be even bigger because it's their 10th edition. So let's hope for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's sorry.
I was going to chime in because, Heidi and Stefan have done everything they can with this COVID thing, right? Because it blew that whole thing up. And I think it's basically, something is going to happen this year in Lesotho. I think the borders are open to South Africans. So at a minimum, South Africans are going to be able to do Lesotho. And then it's going to come down to other countries. So there might be some problems with coming and going from certain countries. But I think they're not able to punt this again for another year. So I think she kind of said, it's going down. It's a matter of, are you going to be there or not? So I would say for any team that's signed up for Lesotho is just leave the dates open, be ready, and then hopefully get vaccinated and get the boosters because that's obviously going to help. But I'm really looking forward to it. I know Andrea is too, and Heidi and Stefan put on an amazing experience. And so that's a great race. If anybody's interested in getting into it.
I know, guys, it's a wonderful thing, and we all are waiting for that moment, like when it's gonna happen, just next year. But yeah, let's hope everything works in our favor. So now let's talk about the championship. It's a big event. After 3 years, you guys have been watching, and I've seen like you guys have been commenting on the event as the course progresses. On Sleep Monster, you are as a guest commentator. There's a lot of updates. So people, those who are not following Sleep Monster, Andrea and Chip have been updating on a day-to-day basis on Sleep Monster's Facebook page. You can check there, like every detailed update, you will find it. But before that, just let us know, how is this championship unfolding?
So we know quite a few people that are racing. Of the 4 American teams, I want to say we've at least met all of them, maybe one or two that we haven't, but it feels really personal this time, especially because we know more people than we have before. And we also know, you know, a handful of racers or maybe not even a handful, maybe a dozen racers from other countries and teams. So it feels, it seems easier than ever to put ourselves in their shoes. We've got more experience ourselves in these expedition races, and we know the racers, and we just feel for them so much that it's hard to look away to see what's happening. So it's really exciting to see those top teams that just seem to never have a mistake, you know, that just go blazing through. It's really exciting to be watching that. And it's also really exciting to see the teams that we know are pushing their hardest, even though they're not near the top. You know, I still want to see where their Dodd is now, and I want to make sure they're okay. Like every time a Dodd stalls out for a while, I think, oh no, I hope no one's hurt. And then of course, just knowing the heartbreak it is when you do need to drop out. And so you know, we learned yesterday that Shane Hagerman from one of the U.S. teams needed to drop. We know him pretty well. So it just, it's gut wrenching. You know, in Guadasinchi, we had a teammate who had to drop, and it was so emotional. You know, we all sat around and cried a little bit, and I know they have some disappointment. So like I said, here I am, I'm a little tired, but it's really easy for us right now to put ourselves in their shoes. And so that makes it really exciting, and it's just so cool to see that those winners come through in 4 days when, you know, the course is open 7 days, 6 days. Anyway, it's just amazing the range of experiences that those teams are having, and I can't wait to hear more of the details of what they went through, because all we see is a dot and we can speculate. There's been some interviews here and there. But I feel like, okay, we know the winner, but I still want more. I want to know more and more and more. So hopefully there's still some stuff that comes out, and you know, it's just exciting.
Yeah, and I'm speaking of the winner, like the top 30 teams in this race are the who's who in the world of racing. I mean, it's just like, I mean, the fact that Bend Racing, which is one of the United States' best teams, and they have won many, many races, they're like in the 20s. I mean, it's just, and they're probably having a phenomenal race. I mean, the level of athletes that are out there is just unbelievable. But the other thing, how this race is played out, which is really interesting, you know, like NthAdventure, we knew they were going to be one of the top teams. You know, we met them in Belize, and we're always following and rooting for them in every race. And also Blizzard, you know, they came in second in Rodriguez. And so we're watching these teams that we've kind of been friendly with, and they were way up there in the front, and then all of a sudden, you know, something happened, and they start falling, and the other teams move up. So it's one of those, just because like day one somebody's in the lead, that means absolutely nothing. They could easily have an injury or a nav error, or you know, I mean, it just, anything can go off the rails. These longer races are a race of attrition. It's like, you can go fast, but you don't want to blow yourself out in day 1 or 2, because then you get an injury or something, you can't recover from it. So it's like the teams that can manage their own, run their own race, manage their own pace, not get blown out, and basically survive at that level of heart rate and effort. It's really admirable. But the main thing is, now that we know who's number one, don't stop watching. There's going to be some amazing battles playing out for 8th and 9th, or 15th and 17th. These are phenomenal teams that are neck and neck, and they're still going to be transitioning fast. They're going to be going with no sleep. Seriously, if you're in the top 30 of one of these races, you're a phenomenal team, and hopefully friends and family are watching, because they're having the time of their lives right now.
True, Chip. So since we have the first team, there's still 2 more days of racing left. There's still a lot of teams out there, and we have some top teams racing, so we don't know at what position they are going to be coming in, and there's a lot happening on ground. But as you have raced expedition races, so Chip and Andrea, let us know what's those challenges teams face during these expedition races. what are the key challenges? Like you also mentioned about Sleep Monster. So just let us know what team is going through right now.
Sure, Andrea, you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, sleep is one of the things that comes to mind first. You know, everyone's tired. And I'm not saying just a little bit tired. I'm saying where you sit down and you pass out, basically. You instantly go to a deep sleep. Your body just, it starts to repair instantly. It's amazing. Like you can fall asleep and 15 minutes later, you feel like you've been asleep for a few hours. You know, you can wake up 15 minutes later and be like, okay, I'm ready to go. Of course, you might feel like you need that 15 minutes again really soon. But sleep is definitely a challenge. But also, you know, your mental toughness. It's easy to push through maybe a little bit of pain on the first day, or maybe even a lot. But as the race goes on, your mental toughness kind of wears down a little bit, and it's harder to shake off what you could shake off on the first day. So yeah, just that mental toughness it's hard to simulate. So you don't necessarily know how you're going to do. And it's just really, you know, once you get tired, it's more difficult. It's just everything, I think, gets more difficult as the days go on, particularly if you don't have the sleep. Which don't, and none of them have, you know, the normal amount of sleep. You know, none of them have been sleeping 8 hours a night. So, you know, by, you know, having a chunk of sleep that's 3 hours, I think that's probably where the top teams are. I think they slept 3 hours at some point, and the winners, I think maybe they said 3.5. But either way, I think
3.5 total.
Yeah, how to manage that is really key. So yeah, mental toughness and sleep. What do you think, Chip?
Yeah, sleep definitely makes it hard, but I'd say I think what differentiates people that kind of enjoy doing this and people that don't want to do it, it is the mental toughness. I think that it's almost like some people are wired for it and some aren't. It really doesn't matter how strong you are or how fit you are. After what seems like, you know, usually about 36, 48 hours, the person who you thought's the strongest might start really just losing the motivation to continue. Like this, I don't want to do this. This sucks. It's hard. I'm tired. You know, every bone in your body, every cell is just screaming at you. Like, what are you doing? This is not fun. And frankly, a lot of times it's not fun. It's raining. You're cold. You're exhausted. Your stomach's messing up. Your feet are starting to get blisters, or your ass hurts because you're on the bike for 12 or 15 hours. I mean, in what a sense, you had like a 30-hour trek. I mean, of course it's terrible. But there's just some people who can say, you know what, but I'm not going to quit. I am not going to quit. I am going to keep moving forward as fast as I can go, even if that's crawling, but I am not leaving this darn race unless it's in an ambulance, you know, or I just can't move forward. And so that's where Andrea and I are, you know, we're definitely not the fastest, but my God, we have been through some stuff in these races and we just do not quit. We keep moving forward, even if it stinks. And so I think that's the piece that I don't know if you're just wired for it or if it's something that you can truly train to just go out and do some overnight stuff or do some stuff out in the cold and just I guess you need the mental confidence to know that, yes, it's bad, but as long as you're not going to have a permanent injury, you can get through it, right? And so, like, for example, in what essentially Dirk's knee, it was to the point where if he keeps going on, he's going to ruin his knee. He's going to need surgery. He's just not going to make it, where you'd have to carry him on a stretcher. So at that point, it makes total sense. Like, just quit. There's no reason to keep pushing this. You're going to have a permanent injury. But the not quitting just because I'm tired, I'm exhausted, my stomach's upset, or even some injuries, like if you have an IT band issue, you just stop for 4 or 5 hours and stretch and roll it out, take a nap, have some food, and you might be able to move on. So I think to me, that's the most challenging part, is not only staying motivated myself, but also keeping the rest of the team motivated to continue even when it gets really hard.
So I think Chip's absolutely right. I totally agree. And I think what keeps us moving through that mental time is our why. Like, why are we doing this? And I think that's why, you know, a lot of people get asked that question, why do you adventure race? And for us, we're accountable to our team. Like, we want to do the best we can for each other. And, you know, we feel alive. It's a really all encompassing experience. Like, you're in the moment fully. And so that why am I doing this? Some people, you know, everyone has a limit, you know, and so then they get to that limit and you start asking yourself, why am I doing this? And if your why is not strong enough, that's gonna play a part in whether you go on or not.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
True. Yeah.
One other thing, and then I know we're talkers, so we could talk all day long. But you tell us if we're going too long. The other thing is, the minute you, yeah, okay. So I think for people that are new to adventure racing, you know, you look at, you know, they start off with 4 to 6 hours, and that's a huge accomplishment for someone that's just done a 5K or a 10K. It is really hard. And then you get into the 12 hours or the 18 hours. Now you've exceeded even triathlons and all of that. You're into another sport because you're now going for, you know, a lot of hours. Even Ironmans, you know, once you've done a 24-hour adventure race, you know, now you're surpassing Ironmans and all of those. I think the minute you cross the finish line of a 24-hour race, now you're like, I did it. Now I can try a 36, or now I can try a 2-day or a 3-day, and the confidence it gives you, even if you don't cross the finish line, or if you have to drop a teammate, or if you get short pushed, it doesn't matter. The minute we crossed the finish line in Rodrigues, we had been going for 158 hours or 128 hours or something like that. It was 5 days. And we were like, yes, now we can sign up for the World Championships. That's only 7 days.
Only.
So I think, and only, right? I mean, we wanted to do eco. Well, we signed up. We tried to sign up for that. And so at this point, it's like, if you build the confidence that you're capable, that you won't quit, that you can handle the cold, you can handle all this stuff. Now you have the confidence to go anywhere in the world and do any race. And you just, you know that if you put forth the training and the effort and the right gear and all of that you can do it. So that's I think that's a big part of it is, you know, another part of just not giving up, because I have this quote that I say, it's like, one can't push their limits unless they first find them. So the idea is you keep putting yourself, you take your guardrails and you push them away and you say, I'm gonna go past where I thought I could go. I'm gonna go farther than I thought I could go. I'm gonna do something harder than I thought I could do. Because if you make it and don't die or get injured, then you're like, I did it. What next? What next? What next? And so I'm really looking forward to the World Championships in Paraguay. It's scary. It's a big race. You have all the top teams. But I know, even if we don't finish, if I know that if I try, just that effort is going to make me so much more confident to go do the next big thing in my life, even if it's not an adventure race. So I would just advocate for people, just get outside your comfort zone, whatever that is. I don't care if it's just walking around your neighborhood for an hour. Push yourself, because that's where you feel alive. It's the routine, mundane, day-to-day life. That's not living. That being comfortable is not living. Being uncomfortable, doing new things, meeting new people, and putting yourself out there. I really think that's kind of that's our why, and that's what keeps us very happy day to day.
Yeah, it's just so rewarding. And I just want to emphasize the baby steps part of that. You know, like, it's okay to start small too, because that small step might be one great big step for you. So, you know, we have really only been racing 5 years, I think, since 2016. And at the time I started with a 3-hour race with my 2 daughters at the time. That was really hard. And mountain biking went over 40. Guess already 9 years ago. So it's not just yesterday, but it's growing. And that's okay. Baby steps got here. So now I'm a biker. It's one of my favorite things to do, which is why I use that example. But, you know, those black trails are no longer that scary I can do a drop, or I can do that feeling. And that knowledge that those baby steps lead to much bigger things. And of course, that's a parallel to life. You know, isn't that the truth? And it's something we all should have learned when we were young, but sometimes it takes a lot longer for that to sit in. And so here I am, you know, wow, I can't have, or I want to have regrets now. I've over and over. Way to Paraguay next year, and hopefully we'll cross the finish. You know, I think also what's important to hear about the people that are racing now, their goals are all quite different. So that's our goal ahead. Usually it's we want to finish. Sometimes it also includes that we want to finish the full course. But it also, we also always include that we want to end up friends in the end. You know, we're teammates and we're accountable to each other. It helps us train and it helps us have a great time. And we just always have the knowledge that it is going to be life-changing. Those experiences that you have are then going to be a part of you. So the goals of the teams that are still out there could be similar. You know, they could have been, you know, now we're short course, but we still want to make it's just such a great sport. I could go and I should.
There's so much experience which is coming out. I'm so glad that I met you guys, and I just can't wait to continue this journey, learning more, and keep meeting you guys again and again on various expeditions.
We'd love to come to India.
Totally.
I'm really hopeful, and I'm really positive about that we're going to invite you soon, and you have to come to India.
We've never been there before, so the best way to see another country is to do an adventure race there.
Yes. Heidi is watching this. We both have some surprises for you.
Exactly.
Cool, guys. Thank you so much. It's really wonderful. And as Chip mentioned, getting uncomfortable and then coming out, doing whatever you can do. And as Andrea mentioned, find your why. It is really important. These things make a team cross the finish line. There's so many elements to it, but it is so good to speak to you guys, and there's so many things happening right now in whatever work we are doing. So now, since we have our first winner already crossed the finish line, but if you have to pick your favorite, which is your favorite team, at Champs?
I can't.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Like, which 20 of our friends are we going to piss off? You know?
I cannot do that. But I think the team that we related to the most is probably Adventure Kidney. They are a team of older athletes like we are. When we race the same races, we're often around the same pace that they are. They're also from the East Coast, so we see them a little more frequently than some other teams from the USA. So I hesitate to say a favorite, but I do say I feel like I relate the most to them.
Wow.
That's also a team that you should interview. Dave Ashley is a double organ donor. He's given up a kidney as well as I think it's part of his liver. And the team name Adventure Kidney is like, you can be an organ donor and still do amazing things. He's trying to do like the 7 summits. He just won a obstacle course race that was happening at the top of Kilimanjaro. I think he was second place. And so he's another team with a cause trying to raise awareness. So like Andrea said, I mean, these are people that we know well and we see them all the time. And so it's fun to root for them, even though they're not going for the podium. They're there really just having an amazing life experience. Of course, any of the U.S. teams, Bend Racing, they're one of our top teams in the country. And so, of course, we're rooting for them. And Chelsea Magnus is just an amazing athlete. It's like any sport she puts her mind to, she wins. So it's fun to see them out there. And again, any other team that we've really crossed paths with and we've had a chance to really talk to, like NatureX, it was really fun. Like we saw them in the airport before we got to my Mountain Adventure Challenge, and then we saw them at the end and during the race, and so it's just always fun to root for them and see how they do. And they're a phenomenal team. And then of course Blizzard, we got to chat with them in Rodrigues, and it's just fun after you get to talk to somebody and meet them, and all of a sudden you see them, they're doing really well. It's almost like let's say this. My favorite team is the one that I know and I'm familiar with, and whichever one of those, the higher they can get on the podium, the better. But that doesn't mean the teams I don't know. I want to meet all the teams. Adventure racers are some of the most amazing people on the planet. But one of the things that you mentioned a minute ago, I just wanted to touch on it, is because the sleep monsters. I guess if people want to follow this race, right? There's a number of ways to do it. Of course, the ARWS, they've got their normal page. They're doing all of the live stuff, and there's a ton of content there. You also have Craig Cook from AR Live Coverage, right? He's doing the analysis of the dots and who's doing what. So if like you're just at a traffic light and you're looking at your cell phone, like check in there because you can find out what's happening in the race. And then Sleep Monsters traditionally is, it's Rob is out there, or even Adam, but Adam's racing this time. They're doing longer form, articles, like really in-depth reporting, boots on the ground at the race. And so that's another place that you can get a lot of really good information, because he's interviewing racers and really diving into the details. And so as he was kind of asking us to help a little bit, to help with the social media, just because Adam's racing. So Rob's out there on his own trying to run around. And Andrea and I kind of talked about it, and it's like, what can we give that's not already being done? Right? I don't need to do what AR Live Coverage is doing, because he's way good at it, and I could never compete with that. So we tried to get inside the heads of the racers. We tried to look at it from the perspective of what is happening on that team, what's in their head, what are they dealing with, and just to give, especially the friends and family who have never done a race but they're watching their loved one, we were trying to give them a feeling for what's really going on in the race. And so that's so if you're interested in it, that's on the Sleep Monsters site. They're on their Facebook page, because the long form articles are on their website. But on the Facebook page, we've been trying to do little blog posts on topics such as sleep strategy or grit or whatever. And that's where people could find out more.
Yeah, right. Actually, as you mentioned, like getting onto like what is on a team's mind, what is happening there. See, as a race course, there are many platforms where people are getting to know which team reached which transition, what are they going to do next. But what is happening during that period? As a team, what they are thinking, what is going wrong, or what is the strategy? That's wonderful. I have been reading all your updates on Sleep Monster, and it is really, really wonderful. I'm getting to know about the race in a different way. So thank you for that. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, for all the people watching us, Sleep Monster, you can just find all the updates on Sleep Monster. And then, as Chip mentioned, there is AR live coverage, and then there is many platforms on Facebook live page. You will have on Instagram. There are a lot of regional pages which are updating everything about this champ. So we are just through 4 days. We have 3 more days to go, and we have plenty of teams coming, racing, and they are still on ground. So before we sign off, any last message you have for the teams, for our audience, or who are going to watch this later?
Go for it. Just get out there and try something. Just any team finishing championships or even gave an attempt, congratulations. You did your best, I'm sure of it. And no matter what the outcome was, you should be very proud.
Yeah, it's the same thing. What the teams are going through is a life-changing experience. And so it's, you get back and it's like, tell me about your race. It's like, how do you do it? Like, tell me about going to the moon and walking around and coming home. I mean, how do you even explain it? So just realize what the teams are going through, what your loved ones are going through. If you're watching a loved one, is an amazing life-changing experience. They are their best selves right now, basically. And then for those that are interested in the sport, or just interested in pushing yourself past your limits, get out there and do it. It's like you only live once, and as I approach 50, I'm like, my clock's ticking really fast. If I'm gonna go do these races, I need to do a lot of them, and I need to do them soon, right? Because I just don't think at 70 years old I'm gonna be able to do this anymore. So I would say just whatever amount of life you have left, use it to the fullest, and consider adventure racing as one way to fill that cup.
Yes, yes, that's a wonderful message. Whatever life you have left, just live that moment, go out and just do it. That's so wonderful. Thank you, Chip and Andrea. It was so wonderful to speak to you. Thank you for making time to talk to us. I really, really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you guys next year. And I still have your Team Disability t-shirt. I'm looking for the orange one next year.
Yep.
Yes, and good luck with all the wonderful work you guys are doing. It's really mean it. We have a lot to learn from you guys, and we'll continue to do so. And stay in touch. Take care, and I hope to see you very, very soon.
And
okay, thank you so much for having us.
You're a great example too. I know you're doing wonderful things over there. So hopefully we'll get to go over there soon too. So good for you. Thanks for doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Yep. Thank you so much. It means a lot, means a lot. I'll see you really soon. I'm going to invite you to really soon to India.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.